Simon and I went to Liverpool, and the first place that we went to was the Beatles Museum. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay too long because I started with a lot of pain, so unfortunately we had to cut our visit short in the museum. But afterwards we went around a few places, and yeah, well, anyway, have a watch and tell me what you think. Now you'll notice in this video you'll hear no background music or much talking. The reason is everybody had to wear headphones and everything was relayed to them through the headphones, so you do not actually have any music. So one way it was good for me because then yeah, I wouldn't have got into trouble. So hope you enjoy the video, and little bits I will try and drop in every now and again. Oh yeah, the trolls. And Mersey Beat. All newspaper clippings. Oh my days, look at that telephone. Wow, look at that banjo. Right, the Grapes was a favourite hangout for the Beatles and many other rock fans, which also served as a safe haven from their screaming teenage fans. So basically, when they went to the cavern, they couldn't have any alcohol there. So afterwards, they would, or before, the best place to go for a drink was at the Grapes pub. The cavern began life as the basement cellar of an old fruit warehouse. During the Second World War, it was used as an air raid shelter. The Beatles played their first gig at the cavern on Thursday the 9th of February 1961. They would eventually make 292 appearances at the club. The last began on the 3rd of August 1963. anytime you want to read any of this, best thing to do is to come back, pause, and then read it, because there's an awful lot to read and take in. We bought a drink in the cafe, and we were given these little mini chocolates. Yes, we're going on a wheel effort thing in Liverpool. And I did go to the Beatles museum, but... Ooh, is that the Mersey? Yeah, it is. Is it? There you go. Air conditioning's coming on now. We're going up and going up.
You used to video card
Yes.
this morning, I mean, yeah. I thought
Something daft like that, yeah.
You don't have the big island anymore, do they?
No, not saying any more about it.
Or because of
Yes.
land, of land.
Yes. Oh yes, definitely. Go over there. No, we're going all blurry, are we? Yeah, we are. It's because we're going through the window. It's quite a distance, but then... Eh?
Liverpool is in the Guinness Book of Records, world's capital city. That's because more Liverpool artists have had a #1 hit than any other town or city. A massive 56 #1s to date. Directly in front of the wheel to the...
Sweating like mad here. Oh yeah, I know. Just don't want too much air on me. I'll be taking off. Oh, absolutely agony with my leg. My leg, my back.
You have to figure something out with your bag, because it's the bag's making me feel ill.
Okay.
You'll carry.
Hey people that are interested in cats, the paranormal and things. Now, we're in Liverpool at the moment, and we did little bits of trips here, there and everywhere, but unfortunately the pain in my legs and my back started to kick in because the weather is absolutely pants. So going on a tour bus, going around and having a look. I mean, I'll throw in the odd clips, but it's just, I don't know, my pain has been going up. But I'm still dragging myself out because I need to, otherwise I'll go stir crazy at home. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video, and I will talk to you after.
around our city centre. We've got Steve driving the bus today. He may be crazy, but he's a very safe driver for you at the same time. And you are on the hop on, hop off bus. You can hop off at any of our designated stops. I will give you a little heads up before we get to them. And if you want them, if you're upstairs, shout yes. If you know, when you're downstairs, give me a little wave. And do stay seated till the bus stops for your own safety. Now a little bit of safety for you upstairs. If it does rain, notice you cannot put an umbrella up on an open top.
Cool.
So that's all safety out of the way. So I'll start off your tour over on our left there with the Albert Duck, the biggest single cell.
It's a carousel.
It's by Chester Hartley and it opened in 1846 with the first goods to come in. Great things to come in there, lots of shops, bars, restaurants, and museums and galleries. While the Tate Gallery is closed for a big 2-year refurb, they've moved their exhibitions over to the Black Glass building behind this one on our left now. And that building, the Black Glass building, also contains a world-class photography gallery.
Cool.
Both of them free to enter. So do remember that if you're around this way. Now we've come out onto a road that runs about 6.5 miles along our original dockland area. In Liverpool, we call the whole thing the Dock Road, so a bit of a job on our hands if we arrange to meet our mates here. Over on the right-hand side, on the corner there, you'll notice a striky building. We call that one the Streaky Bacon Building, for obvious reasons. And it was the original head office of the White Star Shipping Line, the line responsible for the Titanic, which went down on the 15th of April, 1912.
Wow, look at that.
When the Titanic went down, it was a very big loss for Liverpool because about 48% of the workers on board were from right here in our city, even though the ship never stopped here. It was actually built in Belfast, and that's where our workers would have met the Titanic. Now, when the Titanic went down, the White Star Line weren't very nice to the families of the workers on board. The very first thing they did is stop the wages of everyone on board, leaving lots of families without. And 4 weeks after the event, they tried to charge them families for the cost of the uniforms, would you believe?
Wow.
You will be glad to hear that nobody paid a penny, and rightly so. We're coming into the pier head now, and you realise people will want to get off for the cruise ship, and we will be stopping after we come right back around. So do stay in your seats. The pier head, famous for the 3 braces, them 3 wonderful buildings that grace our waterfront here. On our left is the Port of Liverpool building with a date of 1907 on opening, original home of the Mersey Docks and Harbour Board. Now houses our City Council. And we're turning round now towards the Museum of Liverpool, a fabulous museum to go and visit. And in that museum you can find out all about the history of our city and also about our lives as Scousers. That's what we call ourselves here in Liverpool. So anyone for the cruise ship, this will be your stop. So the pier head, we've also got our Beatles statues over on the left there, and there's 7 cup bronzes by our own Liverpool sculptor, Andy Edwards, who, by the way, is also an internationally renowned sculptor, with work all around the world.
The guy in the taxi mentioned about that, didn't they? Didn't he? Sorry. Simon.
Yes, it's not good.
Yeah, I didn't hear you. Oops, a bit too cold to go for an ice cream. Well, it's not cold, that cold, but I don't want it filled with rain. Rain flavoured ice cream. No, thank you.
Christmas.
Oh dear.
He proper is the Santa, guys. The Santa in America. And the kids can call them on WhatsApp and have a conversation with him about his hand. Oh my goodness. There you go. It's all kinds, doesn't it? But he's boss, isn't he? Can't miss him, can you? Couldn't lose him if you tried. There you go. Off he goes on his Santa scooter.
Oh, he does?
Okay, everyone.
Oh, no way, he's gone now.
Back on our tour.
Woohoo.
So coming back to the three braces now on our right foot of Liverpool building, 1907, and on our left now, Cunard building, with the date of 1915 on open. Now these days on the ground floor in Cunard buildings, they have the British Music Experience, a lovely museum all about British rock and pop. And if you show your bus ticket at reception, you can get 25% off on the price of it. Over on our left now, most iconic of the braces, the Liver building. In 1911, Thomas, based on the Wrigley building in Chicago. And when it first opened at just over 320 feet tall, it was the tallest building in the UK. And it also has the biggest clock faces in the UK. Over on our right, St. Nicholas Church, the Sailors' Church. There has been a church on that site since the 1200s, with about 6 build-ons throughout the century. A lovely historical little church to visit. Has anyone gone off to the War Museum?
It's War Museum.
Now we are in the old cotton and silk trading area, and behind Exchange buildings on the right there is a beautiful big square called Exchange Flags, where the cotton traders used to meet and argue the price of cotton. It was a bit like the stock market for the cotton trade. Now I will say that the cotton trade was a terrible trade. It went hand in hand with sugar and indeed slavery, all of which Liverpool made a fortune from and all of which we're not very proud of. It's very important that we acknowledge that and that we teach our children about it, both at home and in school. Over on our left now, this whole block is the old Exchange Street railway station with a date of 1850 on opening, and that was the one built to take people mainly up north to Scotland. They did take a few trains, the overspill from Lion Street down to London, but mostly up north with that one. And it was all beautifully refurbed as offices back in the 1970s, and now houses a big part of our legal system. Think Santa's scooter flies. Now, out ahead of us, we've got a red terracotta brick building by Alfred
Prudential.
Waterhouse, the old Prudential Assurance building, and it opened up as such in the 1870s. When it first opened up, you had separate offices and libraries, both the men and the women didn't want them to come into contact with each other. It was the 1870s after all.
No.
Now we are coming ahead towards the shopping area. If anyone wants to get off at the shops, lovely, we will be stopping a little further ahead. We've got quite a way to go, so do hold on in your seats. And we're also coming into the cavern area. If you want to go to the cavern, it's 2 bus stops ahead. That will leave you a little bit nearer. Okay. So out ahead of us there on Century Building, some photographs of the Beatles and other artists associated with Liverpool. When we get just past Century Buildings, we can have a little peep down Avenue Street, home of the very famous Hall of Fame, with all the names of bands and singers.
See it.
In fact, #1 hits in Liverpool. So we're not just about the Beatles. In our Hall of Fame, we have people like Cilla and Jerry, of course. Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Atomic Kitten, The Real Thing, Kriss, and many, many more. So there's Matthew Street on our left. So straight out ahead of us, we've got L1, biggest outdoor shopping mall in the UK. And our main shopping street is off to the left there. Now I do want to tell you about something that's down that shopping street, something I don't want you to miss. It's not something you'll see as we go past it. But if you walk down that shopping street for 1 minute, you get to Primark. That's not what I want to tell you about. When you get to Primark, stop and look down the alley at the side of it. You will be looking at one of the most beautiful buildings in our city centre, the Blue Boat Arts Centre, and it dates right back to 1730, so the oldest building in the city centre in a lovely Queen Anne style. It's got a brilliant cafe, great garden out the back, and in terms of the artwork, it's a contemporary art. Free to enter and very welcome. So do try that out if you go down the shop. So we are stopping here, Steve. We can go down to the shops. Now do remember, folks, there's only 1 bus 20 minutes behind us if you want to get that on.
And we're ready to rock and roll. That's that's nice.
Now we are in the oldest part of the city centre, and over on our left where Queen Victoria's monument now stands, that's the place where King John built a small castle way back in the 1200s. And King John did make this town and call us Liverpool in King John's charter in the year 1207. And he had his hunting grounds in Liverpool, and he had this idea that he was going to invade Ireland and Wales from our lovely river. That was good of him, wasn't it? So if you're going to invade somewhere, you need a lookout point to look back out and make sure you're not being invaded back. And that's why he built a small castle right there. And the castle came down in the late 1600s. At which point, we took all the stones down the hill and used them as the foundations for the first built-up dock in our city. So a little bit of early recycling went on there. And we're now turning on to Castle Street, a beautiful street dating right back to the early 1700s. If you can, when we get to Sainsbury's on the left, take your eyes up to the top of the building. You won't be disappointed at what's on the top there. It's beautiful. And out ahead of us, Liverpool Town Hall, the second oldest building in the city centre, with a date of 1745. We are stopping here for the cavalry when we get to the bus stop. Now I will say, folks, that Castle Street that we just turned off, it's a lovely street to put your maps away in your pockets, go for a meander, and if you do, go round the back of the town hall, and there you'll find the most remarkable statue, which, by the way, Guy Ritchie was filming some cars around the other week in the Telly 5 statue. And do have a little meander along Castle Street. Now there you go, folks, straight ahead over on your right. Now if we look at this building on the right next door to Piccolino, that is called a glass curtain building, and there are 2 in Liverpool. They were very early buildings that had windows from ceiling to floor. And originally in the 1800s, round about the 1840s, when the office workers were in them buildings, they used to proclaim that they felt naked because everyone could see them from head to foot. Imagine these days seeing the girls walking around in their shorts. My goodness, what a cause to bust them. Also, if you love Italian food, Piccolino is a fabulous restaurant. So do try that one out. Sorry, I stood on your toe, didn't I? You charge extra for that, you know. Well, I can't charge you extra for that. Oh, thanks for that. So we're now on Victoria Street, part of the old administrative quarter of the city centre. So things like the old school board used to be on this street, and some of the old trading houses as well. For instance, you've got Pacific Chambers over there on our left. Years ago, lots of old banks ran down this street. We were the first city outside of London to have a Bank of England. And there was a point in time when we were doing that much world trade that we set up our own bank called the Bank of Liverpool, and we actually printed our own money, the Liverpool pound. And we could actually spend them in Liverpool as well. Not many places can say that. Now, the old gate quarter grew up behind the buildings on the left from the 1950s onwards. So if you look up on the balcony of the Settee there, you'll see our LGBT pictures, helping us to celebrate diversity. Anybody on the bus who loves their cakes and their ice creams, we've got Casper's in front of us there, and that's the king of desserts in Liverpool. So one of the places for really good cakes. And then on the left here, they do a lovely menu. So some Mediterranean food, some ramen food, and a lovely Sunday roast as well. And on the top, they've got a great cocktail bar. But I will warn you, this street is hen party central. You put the words hen party and cocktail bar together. Got quite a raucous party up there. And sometimes in the summer we even see big inflatable things flying over the balcony. No need to tell you what they might be. Get me done. Now in Liverpool we do have two football teams. So coming up on our left is the Hotel for Everton. Ignore that one. Right, we've got the Shep Hotel for Liverpool. That'll be the best one of mine. And we do like two of everything. Two big birds, two cathedrals, and two Mersey tunnels going right under the river to the other side. On the left is the first of them. That one is Queensway Tunnel, and it was opened by a king. And the other one's called Kingsway, and it was opened by a queen. This one opened in 1933, and when it first opened, it was the longest underwater tunnel in the world at 2.5 miles long. It took about 1,800 men, 9 years to complete.
Oops, I'm squeaking on the chair.
If anyone wants off for the museums and galleries, do let me know now. Anyone upstairs? Oh yes, we've got someone coming down. Keep tight hold now. No accidents. So this is William Brown Street with our big museums and galleries. At the bottom left we've got the World Museum, fabulous museum. You're stopping here, Steve.
Wow, look at them
Fabulous
steps.
museum, free to go into. You only pay for the special exhibition and the planetarium in that one. Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you, everybody. Steve, hold them back till people get off. Now, you do have to pay to go into it, but I'll tell you what, it's one of the most beautiful exhibitions I've been to in a long time. It takes about an hour to get round it if you do it properly. And you just come out so chilled and feeling energised in a way as well. It's wonderful. So, if you like exhibitions, do go visit that one. In the middle here, we've got the Central Library, and in that library on the first floor, in the Hornby room, we hold the most expensive printed book in the world. The Book of American Birds by John James Audubon, worth over £8.5 million. Well worth seeing, I will say that. And at the top of the street beyond the library, the Walker Art Gallery, known for wonderful paintings. We've got 2 Rembrandts in there. It's known for its pre-Raphaelites. We've also got David Hockneys and much more. Over on our left, St John's Gardens, a memorial garden, built over an old war cemetery. Lots of statues in there. Unfortunately, 1 or 2 of them were heavily involved in the slave trade. We are not going to put them down and throw them in the river like we did in Colston in Bristol. We leave ours there for educational reasons, and they are very well used for that. I promise you that much. Now on the left on the pavement, that big drum is our city centre memorial to Hillsborough. So 35 years now since that terrible tragedy, and the families of the 97 will never really receive full justice. All I ask of you is to just think a bit of love out for the families of the 97. An interesting character over on our right now, that is Dr. Duncan. And Dr. Duncan was a doctor in Liverpool in the early 1800s. He had big concern about the state of the water at the time, so he wrote lots of papers on that. And because of them papers, when the cholera broke out in 1832, he was appointed the very first Chief Medical Officer for England. And on this appointment, he made a grand speech to the people. He told them, do not drink the drinking water. You will get very ill. Instead, he advised them to drink the beer because it was better for you. So lots of drunkards walking around in 1832.
And it still happens today.
Absolutely. Over on our left, St George's Hall, our biggest grade 1 listed, neoclassical in design by Harvey Lonsdale Ellis and Charles Robert Cockrell. 1854, this opened as a grand concert hall and originally a house of law courts at this end. And there on the side we've got a little visiting centre with 22 cars.
That's where we're going in, Lime Street.
It's £8 or £10 and worth every single penny. Now in there we have something called the Minton floor running right along the Grand Concert Hall. Only 2 Minton floors in the world. They're the ones in the White House, not quite as elaborate as ours. Ours is made of 30,000 individual tiles. It took about a year to actually create that floor in there. I can say as a visual artist who works in pattern, I go all around the world researching pattern, and I've never seen a floor as beautiful as that one. Also, when it first opened, it has the first air conditioning system in the world. And if you went on the tour, you'd see that, you'd see the floor, you'd see the biggest concert hall organ in the world, and much more besides. Now, a little look out on our left in front of us, and you can see the Crown Hotel there.
Nice.
And they're great big old decorative pubs used to be known as gym. That was one of the gym palaces that used to serve the sailors, and it was also founded by Maggie May, who used to take the sailors in their clubs, let them blind jump and steal all the money. She did get sent off to Australia for a prize in the end.
It's a cheap way of going.
Absolutely. Apparently, when Maggie May got sent off to Australia, she made a real road for us of herself over there as well, so she never did learn or less. Now, is anyone getting off for Lime Street Station? Anyone upstairs?
Do you want to get off?
No?
Okay. Let's get a taxi. I know it is. Let's get a
So here we
taxi.
are, Lime Street Station. It is the oldest still operational passenger terminus railway station in the world, dating back to 1836 when it opened with just 2 train tracks. Now the train sheds came a little bit later on, a beautiful piece of engineering, all made out of iron and glass, built between 1846 and 1859. When they were first built, they were the longest train sheds in the world.
That's the other side of that building.
A lovely view on the right of the front of the hall there. No wonder King Charles said he believes it to be the finest example of neoclassical architecture in Europe. If you went in the Grand Concert Hall, you would see lots of stone statues, and one of them is of Charles Dickens. He wasn't from Liverpool, he was from Portsmouth originally, but he kept coming back to Liverpool regularly over 36 years. He said Liverpool inspired him, and every time he came back, he did penny readings in the hall there, introducing parts of his new books. And he was so popular in Liverpool, and so well loved, that on his very last visit and his last penny reading, over 3,000 people turned up to see him, and they couldn't get them all in the Grand Concert Hall, and they actually had to send for the riot police to disperse them. Imagine that for a literary reading. Now, while that may be a funny little story, that speaks absolute volumes about the history of art and culture in our lovely city. Now, a few years ago, I found a newspaper article by a journalist of the time called Dolby, and he wrote a very small piece on Dickens' last visit to Liverpool, and this is what he wrote, and I quote, "As Charles Dickens left the Adelphi for the very last time to walk to Exchange Street station, he was stopped in the street many times by Liverpool people wanting to shake his hand and thank him for his contribution to the city." What a beautiful accolade that is.
But it's squeaky on these chairs. An original penny bazaar.
Most of them are on the ground, but we do have a very famous one, very high over here, who is also immortalised in a song. The song says, "In my Liverpool home, we speak with an accent exceedingly rare, he meets under a statue, exceedingly bare." So eyes up on the right as we go through the lights on the corner of the Lewis's building, very high up there he is. Not a fig leaf to be seen, and we call that statue Dickie Lewis. Now, our Dickie Lewis really called Liverpool resurgent by the wonderful Jacob Exton. Does anyone want to get off at the Adelphi? Lovely, okay, we're stopping here. Okay, so there you go folks, the Adelphi. Thank you for joining us. Now, I did mention Charles Dickens had an association with the Adelphi when I was telling that story. This is not the one he stayed in. There have been 3 Adelphis on that site. This one opened in 1919, and many of the designers of the interior of the Titanic worked on the interior of this Adelphi. So if you walked in the foyer there, it's as beautiful now as it ever was. And the Titanic ballroom, very close in design to the ballroom on the Titanic itself. So if you pass in the Adelphi, have a little pop in, have a look at the foyer and the ballroom. And over the years, many big stars stayed in that one, including Gregory Peck, Judy Garland, the Beatles, Frank Sinatra, and many more. Is anybody going to be getting off for Metropolitan Cathedral? No, okay. So you can just see the top of it over on your right there. But it's an interesting cathedral because it was built in two halves by two different designers. But coming up to the crypt, you'll see the pyramid. And the crypt is in a Byzantine style by Edwin Lutyens. He had a beautiful Byzantine dream of building the biggest cathedral in the world, but they had to stop his build at the crypt in 1933. Had they allowed him to carry on back then, his complete build would have cost £30 million. No small change in 1933. Now before we go and look at the top over on our left, the red brick university building by Alfred Waterhouse in a Gothic revival style, dating in 92 on opening. And inside the walls there, they've got the Victoria Art Gallery, featuring a small portion of Liverpool Uni's extensive art collection. And I'll tell you what, if you went to visit the Victoria Gallery and took every bit of artwork out, the building inside is an artwork in itself. Stunningly beautiful and free to visit. So anyone wanting the Metropolitan Cathedral, let me know now. Okay, so over on our right, Metropolitan Cathedral of Christ the King. But because we're all a little bit Irish in Liverpool, we called that one Paddy's Wigwam. The Warden Church commissioned Frederick Gibbard to create a cathedral of our time. And that was the first contemporary style cathedral in the UK. Opened in 1967. The lantern on the top of this one is the biggest expanse of stained glass windows in the world. Over 9,000 pieces of stained glass in them windows. Now I will tell you that if you do want to see the cathedral that should have been built there, not the one that's there now, if you want to see Edwin Lutyens' beautiful Byzantine dream, his original architectural model from the 1930s is housed on the top floor of the Museum of Liverpool at the Pierhead. I highly recommend going to have a look at that one. It's stunningly beautiful. Now the bells out front on this one, the church called them Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. No prizes for guessing what we call them. John, George, Paul.
Well, I'm not surprised.
So two cathedrals joined by a street called Hope. And here we are. The Everyman Theatre on the left, the home of fabulous drama. If you're a theatre goer, keep an eye on that one. Now, does anyone want to get off to go to the film to get their glass of bubbly on us? I just show you bus tickets at the bar. Anyone? Bubbly time? Oh my goodness, anyone upstairs?
No.
Did I hear a yes then? Sounded like a yes came from a 6-year-old. Probably did. If they're a scouser, it probably did. Train them early in Liverpool. Okay, so coming up on the next right-hand corner, you will see the Philharmonic dining rooms, and we simply call it the Phil. When you get to see this club, it is beautiful. Very opulent on the outside and twice as opulent on the inside. And as I say, go in there, show your bus tickets at the bar and get a free glass of bubbly on us. And believe me, you want to go in there. It is beautiful inside. And it was the very first Grade 1 listed pub in the UK. Also, when it first opened, it only served men. The rich men from out front in the Georgian Quarter, so no poor people and no women. And consequently, originally, it only had a men's toilet. The men's toilet in there, done out in the most beautiful pink Connemara marble. It is the only Grade 1 listed toilet in the UK. Now, ladies on the bus, if you go in there for your glass of bubbly, you don't have to miss out. You can ask to see that toilet, everyone does. But do remember it's the men's, not first, and you will need a nose defender, that's for sure. So, Paul McCartney and James Corden did the carpool karaoke in the back room here about 8 or 9 years ago. It was the best kept secret Liverpool's ever had. Paul McCartney wouldn't let the venue out till 20 minutes before. And he said he did that because it was a free concert, and had he let the venue out earlier, the whole pub would have been filled with Scousers. He didn't want that. He wanted even the visitors to have the same opportunity. And we really respect him for that. Now I'm going to point out some great cafes now. So over on our left, we've got Moose Coffee there. The food and the coffee are fabulous. Happy on more for the evening, we've got a great restaurant. Around the corner you've got the Quarter. I can't rate it highly enough, the green one. So if you're walking from cathedral to cathedral, they're a great stop on the way. Over the wall on the left you've got Blackburn House. It was the first grammar school for girls in the UK. Opened as such in 1858. Is everyone getting off the Liverpool Cathedral? Anyone upstairs? No. So over on our left now, Liverpool Cathedral. The longest cathedral in the world, the 5th biggest in volume, and it took 74 years to build.
Wow.
Starting at the other end in 1904 and completing at this end in 1978. And it's by Sir Giles Gilbert Scott. Now Sir Giles Gilbert Scott, remarkably, was only 22 years old when he designed that cathedral. Imagine that. You don't even get out of architecture school until you're that age these days, and you're not equipped to do that. So very talented young man.
Definitely.
And if you went in there, you would find a little red telephone box. So Giles Gilbert Scott's smallest design housed within his biggest design. And he designed a little red telephone box when he was 19 years old. Look how far he came in 3 years. Beautiful inside of there. The magic does happen when you go through the doors. Always been both a medical and a residential street. Now we do call it the Harley Street of the North. They say you can get anything done on this street. You can walk in one end looking 70 and out the other looking 21. You have to go the right way and you have to have a deep pocket. Over on our left, the house with the red for sale sign is where William Gladstone was born, was the Prime Minister, and this street has had very high prominence. Lots of influential people connected with it throughout the years. And as a medical street, it is the street where the X-ray machine was designed and developed. And that was done by Liverpool University and paid for by Merseydocs and Harvard. And this street said to be the most haunted street in the city centre.
Thank you.
Is anybody getting off for the bombed out church? We're stopping for the bombed out stick. So over on our left now, St. Luke's, the bombed out church.
Wow.
And you can see why it's called that. There are only 2 bombed out churches in the UK. The other one is in Plymouth, coincidentally another Dockland city. Thank you very much, folks. So the Dockland city is very badly gone during the war. Now these days you can go in, have a little look inside, just a little £2 donation to the arts organisation Curing. Have a little look at the Truce statue there. That commemorates Christmas Day 1914 in Belgium, when both sides put their guns down, met
played
in the
football.
middle and played a game of football.
I remember that.
And our statue team did put that resin statue on the back of a lorry, December 2014. They took it all the way to Belgium and it hit the same field where the event happened on Christmas Day 2014. And I kid you not, for a Christmas Day, people came from all over Belgium to give their love and respect to the statue and the statue team and Andy Edwards. Now as we turn the corner, have a little peep down to the right down Pearl Street. We love that street in Liverpool. Great cafes and restaurants all the way down where you won't be charged Albert Dock prices. Every day when the streets full up, it's got a lovely Liverpool. Over on our right now, we've got the Blue Angel Club. That's where Brian Epstein signed Scylla from. Now, Brian did see Scylla in the Cavern when she was 19 years old, and he said, lovely voice, but she's stiff as a board, and he wouldn't sign her up. 3 years later, the Beatles said, come on Brian, she's playing the Blue Angel, she's ready. He brought him up here, he saw her, and he agreed she was ready. And then he had to go and ask her dad, could he manage her? Her dad had already kicked out 7 potential managers. But he took one look at Brian, he knew Brian was the business, and Brian sealed the deal with the very expensive one. So there you go. And you know what? Scylla loved Brian all of her life. She thanked him, not only for her music career, but when she turned to television, he set all of her early appearances up. So she always kept this photograph on her bedside table next to the photograph of her son and her husband. That's how much she admired her.
Yeah.
Now we are in Chinatown. Somebody wanted to get off for Chinatown. Okay. We will be stopping just across the road. But we do have the longest settled Chinese community in the UK. And to celebrate that, our beautiful Chinese arch over on our right there. The biggest Chinese arch outside of mainland China. There you go, folks. Now, do you remember there's only one more bus behind us? 1 sec till people get off. Thank you. We want seats, folks. We need everyone sitting down for their own safety. Thank you. Over on our right, we're coming up to our old graffiti practice wall, and we are trying to get the council to restore that. It's been heavily used for 16 years now, and it's provided a free-for-all space for our young people to express themselves, upskill, and while that wall's been there, we've had no tagging going on everywhere and anywhere round here. I do believe every city should have a free-for-all practice wall, and there's some great young artists come and put work on that one. Now, the big bird on the wall there is the Secretary Bird by John Culshaw, one of our main big wall graffiti artists. We do love John in Liverpool. He's got a big Ringo further up in the city, but what we really love him for is the amount of time and energy that he gives to the young people around Liverpool. Got about 8 or 9 major big wall projects, one of them in Strawberry Fields, that he did with their young trainees. If you look out to the right now, you can see the top of the old Caves Brewery there. We go round, have a little look at that. It's a very social area called the Baltic Social. It's a great one for us to visit, and a great one for our visitors as well. Now, the old Caves Brewery was so popular that this year we've had to build onto the back and put the box park there. The box park's only been open for 10 weeks. But the whole complex, including the old Canes Brewery and the box park, house venues, bars, cafes, restaurants, both indoor and out. And in the old Canes Brewery, we've got a lovely vintage market. Always very popular. If you went in round the other side of the whole street, it's all decorated with fairy lights. It's lovely. And quite often we have little market stalls at the top of the street round the other side. Quite often we have bands on round there. So look up the Baltic Social Haynes Brewery and see if there's any events on while you're here. And believe me, I've been in town when I've met some visitors off the bus and they've said, oh, thanks for introducing us to that. That's a great time, isn't it? It's for anyone of any age. It's not just for the young ones to go and have a club night. It's for anyone of any age. It really is lovely. Around the other side is where they film parts of Peaky Blinders.
Oh.
Nothing but merchant sailors walking up and down all day and all night. And when they came back down, mostly it was in the night, and mostly they were robbed.
Casino. 1856 on that. Like an old prison thing.
So coming back towards the Albert Dock now, as I say, finishing up the Albert Dock, so we won't be able to invite you to stay on. Now, if you were to go into the Albert Dock on this entrance, you'd be going over that bridge there. The bridge itself doesn't have a name.
And getting back to where we started. Oh, it's a little and the carousel. Do you like carousels?
Sorry folks, the mic's just run out. So I've just come up to do a final goodbye to you and thank you all for travelling with us. You can go on to TripAdvisor, leave a little comment about us, and we do have a little hungry hat downstairs in case anyone wants to feed it and we don't leave margin. But we always appreciate it for a little something good. I hope you have any clouds on the way round with some places to visit. And enjoy the rest of your stay in Liverpool.
Cool. Thank you.